Noni, are you here?
I'm here. Can you see me now? Because I came up on my own thing then, so I don't know.
I can't see you.
No, I can't see you.
Okay.
I can't see you.
Okay.
But we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
Okay. Let's hear next from Jane. Jane's in down south in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Jane, are you there?
I'm there. Yeah. Did
So
you
Jane
want me?
Sullivan, Jane.
Yeah. Hey.
Hello.
Do you want me to answer the question that I sent?
Yes, please do.
Go ahead.
We were. I love hearing the backstories, the anecdotes. And Ariel's talked about working with the babies, and I know that like the engagement party scene for us, 105 for y'all, and the 40. I'm blazing hot, and go back and watch that. And everybody looks happy. Nobody's sweating or anything. Do you have an anecdote about another scene that looks flawless to us? And if you watch it, you only knew what was going on.
Oh, yeah. I can hear some tapping somehow.
Yes, it's not me. I don't know, but
Okay. Elizabeth was very lucky with that engagement party because I didn't approve, so I didn't have to go. So I was one of the few to escape the heat. Yeah, look, it's always one of the funny battles we have is that not only is our studio not soundproof, so we have to stop every time there's a loud truck or a plane going overhead, but the location of Ash Park, or my house as I call it, is very close to a gliding school. So they never take sound people when they do location recce's. So every 10 minutes or so, there's a glider taking off very close to the location, so we have to stop filming. But also, there's a long gravel driveway at Ash Park. And every time anyone gets out of the car, of course, there's a crunch of gravel. So a lot of the scenes have to be re-recorded later or post-sync so that we don't have crunching sounds over the gravel. So there's always something that kind of gets in the way of it being smooth, and usually it's something in the air, which can be very frustrating if you're doing, a scene when you're very emotional or trying to tell someone you love them or tell some awful secret about the past, and a very modern jet goes overhead. So I've learned, I actually hear them before the sound people now, so I just aircraft and stop because I need to hold my energy for when we do get a good take.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Okay, Donna Devine, are you there?
I am.
Say hello to Donna and tell her where you're from and how you watch A Place to Call Home.
I live in Connecticut for the most part, though I spend a lot of time in New York, and I saw A Place to Call Home quite by accident. I was watching Connecticut Public TV quite late, and I was taken with the first episode. I thought it would be a film, a TV program that I would go to sleep to, but it's really focused my energy. And the question I have for you is, how much of the arc of the narrative do you have when you get the first episode? And you get the screenplay for the first episode? Do you know where the whole season is going to end up?
A great question, Donna, and lucky you to live in beautiful Connecticut. We have, well, for example, with the season that's just beginning, and I'm aware that not everyone has seen everything up to the end of season 3, so I'll try not to do any spoilers. Each of us, the actors, were taken into Chris Martin Jones, the series producer's office this week, and talked with the script producer, Catherine Thompson, who works with Bevan, about our characters' story arcs for the upcoming season. So we have a reasonable idea of where we're going, which is important because you need to kind of pace your performance to match the emotional stakes that are being revealed. But last year was a real mishmash because I had to do a tour of a one-woman play, and because there was a delay in commissioning the third series, the dates then crossed over. So at one point I was shooting scenes from 6 different episodes with 3 different directors over a 1-week period. and we hadn't seen any of the scripts in total that the scenes were being drawn from. So there was a lot of confusion. And my character appears a little bit less in those last few episodes as a result. But generally, we have a pretty good idea of where we're going. And you know, obviously, if your character's going to have something drastic happen to you in episode 5, then you need to kind of know where you've been and where you're going in any scene, never mind any episode. You know, you need to have come from somewhere and be heading somewhere after the scene is over. So it is important for us all to have that sense of who we are and what we're doing and how we might end up.
Thanks, Noni. Marjolaine,
Yes.
are you there? You're on.
Okay. Hello. Hello.
Remind everybody where you're from and how you see A Place to Call Home.
Okay. Well, I am from Holland in Europe, and we watched A Place to Call Home last summer, first 2 seasons. There are reruns at the moment, and on hello.
Hello?
Okay. And we watched BBC from UK, and season 3 is airing at the moment.
Okay.
And I've seen already season 3, so there will be no spoiling for me.
Oh, good. And I know there are lots of fans in Holland, so hi to everyone in Holland.
Yes. I don't know if someone else from Holland is in this chat session.
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, there are a lot of fans in Holland. We have a fan group and a Dutch fan group, especially for A Place to Call Home.
I know, we follow you, don't worry. We're aware of that. We're very thrilled.
So what's your question for Noni, Marjolaine?
Oh, I really don't have a question. I like to listen to everybody.
Oh, well, I'm sure there's plenty to talk about. Kira, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, Kara, say hello to Noni and tell us where you're from and how you watch A Place to Call Home.
Hi, Noni. I'm from Victoria in Australia.
Okay, just down the road.
Yeah. So the way I watch A Place to Call Home, I loved it from the first episode. I watched it from the start and just absolutely fell in love with it and was ecstatic and disappointed, but so happy that Foxtel picked it up and so we could all watch it again. And I hadn't even thought of getting Foxtel before A Place to Call Home went there, so it was the only reason that I ended up getting it. My question for you is, what is your favourite part of being Elizabeth Bly? Is it the costumes or the narrative, or what's your favourite part?
Oh, great question again. My favourite part, I think, is confounding people's view of Elizabeth. When I first started in the show, when I did some publicity, almost all the journalists and you know, radio people that I had to speak to said, "Oh, Elizabeth's such a bitch." And Elizabeth, I always stuck up for her very loudly because I don't see her that way. I see her as someone who has very good reasons to be the way she is, as we all do. And so I think this world is one where our judgment of each other and ourselves is often misplaced and too hasty, and we tend not to look behind the front that's presented by people. I think we share more similarities than differences as human beings, and my joy in playing Elizabeth is that I get the opportunity to peel away the layers of the onion. You know, she has a very strong defense, very strong front that she puts up in order to function in her world as she sees, you know, it necessary. But behind that is her life experience, her pain, her love for her family, all the things that have made her the way she is now. And so the joy now that, you know, season 3 has gone past, where she really had to redefine herself. You know, she was really on the ropes in the sense of her function as a person in the lives of her family was really almost irrelevant and redundant to the family. So she has had to find a new way of being in the world. So that's been a lovely journey for me, and knowing, the background to Elizabeth's story. I mean, she married when she was 17, probably around the turn of the 20th century, Victorian times, really. And to find out, she had a husband who was a homosexual, which she would have had no idea about. And so, the decisions she's made through her life to maintain the status quo of her family and, the layers of protection she's built up against feeling and experiencing the truth. I think the scales have fallen from her eyes. So, I just love the journey. It's a long answer, which I tend to give. I'm sorry, but I just love the journey of saying to people, look behind the front and don't judge a book by its cover, because people are far more interesting and complex than we give ourselves credit for.
So if we look behind Regina, she's not going to be a bitch, or she is still.
Well, I think we all have our moments, I think all of us can be a little bitchy at times, and all of us can be very kind at times. We're all very complex individuals, and we tend to put on a face that we present to whatever situation we're in. Usually, one that is respectable and coping, regardless of whatever turmoil may lie underneath. So yeah, I just love being able to humanize someone who, on the face of it, you might make an instant judgment about that may be unkind or misplaced.
Noni, it's Susan here. We never, I think that Noni, that Elizabeth is at her loveliest when she is either in her garden or playing the piano. Can you share with us your own experience with gardening and playing the piano?
Sure. Gardening is something I love. I adore flowers. I adore watching things grow. I've lived a semi-rural existence for probably half of my adult life. I love living in the country, but it's a really difficult thing to work out of the country, so I do have to spend a lot of time in cities. I spent 10 years in Australia hosting and presenting a show called Better Homes and Gardens, based on the magazine, which you have in other places in the world. And while my children were small and I didn't want to go away from home too much. And so a lot of that was around gardening, and I learned such a lot doing that show, but I've also tried to grow my own vegetables and all that kind of thing. But yeah, I'm a really keen gardener. As for playing the piano, I'm a fourth generation performer. My parents were in vaudeville in England before the Second World War. And so once my parents recognized that I had the passion and some talent, they did everything they could to provide me with opportunities to build my skill sets. So I learned piano from an early age. I learned ballet from an early age. I did calisthenics. I learned how to do accents. I learned comedy timing from my parents. So that was just something, a part of my arsenal that I enjoyed. But typically for a kid, I had this really tyrannical piano teacher who I had very small hands, and she used to spread my fingers against the keys because I couldn't reach an octave and make notes. And I refused to practice, and my parents eventually said, we're not going to pay for your lessons because you're not practicing, so we're going to stop. And I said, okay. So they cancelled this woman out, and from that point on, you could not get me off the piano. So it's something that I love, and I do think for Elizabeth, the joy of music and the joy of creating music is something that she's used as maybe an alternative to a tranquilizer or an antidepressant now. In those days, options were more limited, and so music actually played a much bigger role in people's lives. And indeed, most women, or a lot of women, would have had, lessons on the piano. Sing-alongs were the way we entertained each other at Christmas and New Year, and played times like that. So it's lovely to be able to bring that to the show. But also the period pianos that they get are never able to be tuned properly. So even though I'm actually playing, the sound that comes out of some of the pianos that they make me play is less than ideal. So they tend to have me dub the real sound on a real piano later. It can be quite hysterical sometimes because there's a scene in series 3 where someone is admiring, I won't again go into it too much, but someone is admiring my playing. And the piano, there was maybe one note in 20 that was remotely like the note that I was meant to be playing. So it was very hard to kind of gaze lovingly at the keyboard and watching the crew and trying to stifle their hysteria with shoving, handkerchiefs in their mouths and things on the other side of the hilarious.
Quite a vision.
Indeed.
I want to ask one more question, and then I'm going to turn it over to somebody else. I know you can't tell us what's coming up, but will we see Elizabeth enjoy a little more romance?
Oh, come over all funny. Well, what can I say? She is keeping things at arm's length. I think it's a case very much of she thinks it's probably passed her by. She still feels that the family has more need of her than she has her own needs, and is always more likely to put those needs first. Certainly, George's political ambitions require her attendance, as does his liaison with Regina, which is a constant heartache for the rest of the family. So, look, I'm hoping that she finds happiness, whether it's romantic happiness or not, I can't say.
Okay. Simon, are you there? Simon?
Hello, I'm here.
You're on. What would you like to ask Noni?
Okay, hello, Noni.
Hello, Simon. Where are you speaking
Hiya.
from?
Hello, I'm in the UK.
Lovely.
Watching it in Newcastle in the north.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm watching some BBC. I first saw a couple of episodes when I was in Australia in 2013. And I liked it then. I made a point of watching it because I knew, like yourself and Brett, that I'd seen in other things. I wanted to check it out. And then I've started watching the reruns here, and we're up to just starting season 3. I mean, I remember yourself from the Sullivans when that was shown here when I was little in the 80s, 70s, 80s. Yes, so it's yourself and Brett have seen the other things, and the newer talent and the other cast. I mean, they're great as well. It's brilliant. What I wanted to ask you really was, you've answered a little bit already, but with the character of Elizabeth, I mean, as you've said, she's a very complex character, and there's a lot more to her than what you see on the surface. I mean, obviously the character is down there on paper for you to interpret, but I'm just wondering how you personally found Elizabeth, and in the different facets to her character. Have you based some of it perhaps on yourself, some of it on people you know? How have you sort of brought her to life from what was asked of you, what was required of you?
Thanks, Simon. Yeah, I think it's always interesting when you find a new character. It's as much about what's not said as what is said. And I certainly based some of her on my mother and many women of my mother's generation. My mother migrated with my dad and my brother to Australia in 1951, and she was English, and she had a lot of secrets, a lot of things that she felt she didn't want to talk about because they either were sad for her or potentially embarrassing for her about her family's past. In the light of today, nothing that you wouldn't talk about now, but she even had secrets from me about her family, which I only found out from my brother, when she was long gone. And I remember being a very small child and thinking, I wonder if the people who saw us at church on a Sunday, if they saw us on a Saturday, what they would think of us, because I was very aware that we were very different in front of other people. And so I became very aware that there's a mask that goes up when we play our role in society or in the world. And so I think she also embodies for me that generation of women who certainly in Australia, they looked to England as home. They emulated, they were great fans of the Queen and the royal family. You know, we devoured information about the Queen hungrily here. And it was only really after the Second World War that American culture began to pervade our shores through television, which came in '56 here. So, and that loosened everything up, you know, and came rock and roll and all those things. So the series is set right on that cusp, where we're casting off our ties to England and embracing the new from America. So certainly, yes, that whole thing of hiding secrets and keeping up a facade is very much based on my mother, because in retrospect, I find it sad that she wasn't able to be more open, that she wasn't able to talk openly and honestly about things that upset her. And so I think that sadness comes through for me in Elizabeth's character, that, you know, she does have many regrets. But the thing that I love to hope for her is that she's able to find new things in her life that will replace what she thought was important and realizes now isn't so important. Does that answer your question a little?
Yes, it does. Thank you. Yes.
My pleasure.
Yes, you're really giving us an insight into Elizabeth. Next, Noni, Jenny Lewington is going to type in a question. There you go. Can you see it?
No, you said to look for a bubble, and I'm looking.
Yeah, press that bubble.
Which bubble? Oh, this bubble. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Hi, Noni. I have two quick questions. Firstly, I wondered if your voice was dubbed onto the young Elizabeth. Secondly, I've been lucky enough to be an extra for a day. Indeed, I'm sure I wore the same slippers from the costume department that you wore in season 1, episode 1. I wondered if you could describe a typical filming day for the others and also explain how continuity is maintained between filming at Camelot and in the studio in Sydney.
Okay, so a typical filming day. Thanks, Jenny, for that question, and nice to hear from you. Jenny is one of the administrative group from the Save a Place to Call Home movement in Australia, and we've made lots of contact over the last 18 months or so.
We love Jenny Lewington, all of the fans. Whatever page they're on, Jenny is a big part of it, and we've all been really good at supporting her venture to do her guidebook, which is very exciting.
It is very exciting. We're thrilled that it's happening. Thanks, Jenny. So a typical filming day, if you're in the first scene of the day, you're picked up at about 4:15 in the morning. You're in the makeup chair at 5, so all the poor makeup artists are the first in, last out. For an hour and a half, you are made up and have your hair done. The boys kind of stroll in a bit later because they don't have so much to have done. They usually shave and carry on, and we fight over what music is going to be played in the van. And then we get changed, and then we have breakfast. The crew arrives at about 7. We have breakfast, which is usually pretty sumptuous. And then we start filming at 7:30 in the morning. And depending on the number of scenes to be shot, there may be up to 8 scenes in a day. And, you know, not everybody is in all the scenes, so you might have a half-day shoot, you might be on there all day. We have a lunch break, and we normally finish at about 6:30 in the evening. So it's a 5-day-a-week shoot. If we're in the studio, it's very controlled, very contained, apart from the planes overhead. But, you know, to get from where the trailers are, the makeup trailer and the wardrobe trailer, to get from there to the studio is about maybe 200-meter walk through past the props, past the set building, past the camera trucks, and onto the set. Now, to keep continuity between what's shot down in Camden, which is where we shoot the rural stuff, and Ash Park, that's about an hour and a half southwest of Sydney. So generally we stay down there, everybody decamps down there, and we stay there for 2 or 3 days. And the continuity is simply kept by the continuity person, whose job it is to make a note of every single thing that was happening in those exterior locations. And so when we come to shoot the other stuff, maybe 2 weeks later, that follows on directly or precedes directly the location shoot, it's the continuity person's job to make sure all the props are in place, to make sure the wardrobe is in the same situation. If someone's been in a fight, to make sure the makeup is, continuous. And everyone takes numerous photographs of the props, of the makeup, of the hair. So they're always referring back to those things to check, to make sure the continuity is right. The actors also obviously have to take responsibility, and also to the camera crew. They have to have a continuity of lighting effects, and if it was pouring rain outside when we were shooting something outside, you have to be able to remember that and carry that through. So the continuity person is one of the most important people on the set. Imagine trying to imagine shooting a dinner scene with 8 or 10 people around the table, all actively eating, and one person trying to keep track in the wide shot that shows everybody of who ate what when, or who drank what when, so that when they come to do the tighter shots of 1 or 2 people, you have to have your glass, at the right point that you had it in the wide shot when they shot the whole scene. So it's a really crucial job, and one that must lead to a lot of nightmares for continuity people. And I'm sure, most of you have spotted continuity errors in things that you've watched, and sometimes it's hard to avoid.
Noni, when you have those long breaks, how do you keep yourself busy? What do you do? Crossword puzzles? Knit?
A combination of things. One thing that you can't do is sort of lie down and have a nap, because your hair's done, your makeup's done. You can't just kind of go for a walk. And also you have people watching your every move. If you step outside the trailer, you have an assistant director going, "Oh, I've got Noni, I can spot Noni here. She's 10-1ing over to the coffee truck," and it's you follow to make sure that they keep the actors corralled. Look, we read, we talk, we have a green room where we can get together. We might also run up and have a meeting with the writers, or have a costume fitting, but generally we have to keep ourselves nice and sort of stay close and just be ready, because when they say go, you have to be ready to go. So line learning, putting amendments into the script. Sometimes I play words with friends on my phone. Yeah, the normal things that you do when you can't really, get out in the wind or splash your face or do anything like that.
Excellent. Okay, Noni, we have somebody on. Evidently, this Skype cannot support more video, and for the next time, I'm going to look into seeing how we can actually see more people. But we have a member, Charlie Lewis, who has 2 daughters. Gracie Dawn, who's 10, and Katrina, who is 8. And they're from Queensland, and they're going to type in a question for you. Okay?
Yeah.
And they'll be able to hear, hear your answer. They want the crew to come this way to meet them. Okay, what else? Charlie?
And where in Queensland are they?
Tugulawa.
How do you say it?
Tugulawa. Tugulawa. Did you hear me? Tugulawa. Near the Sunshine Coast, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my brother lives in Melville.
I think that's where it is.
Okay.
Here, I don't know if you can see it. He's asking, the girls are asking, when the filming stopped and they sold things, what do you miss?
Oh, wow. Yeah, for those who don't know what that's referring to, after season 2, when we were cancelled, they did a huge sell-off of all the props and the costumes. So when it went back into production, there was a frantic scramble to try and get as much back as possible. I think look, I really don't miss anything now. I find that our set dressing department is just so amazing that even though there were differences, they were very subtle, and you could also excuse some of it in that people do update their things every now and again. But the weird thing is that they did have to begin again from scratch. The sets were destroyed. The cars were let go. There was one dress. Luckily, they managed to find most of the clothing that had been seen at the end of season two, particularly for the women, which is very distinctive. But I think it was in the case of Sarah, who plays my daughter Carolyn's frock, that dress could not be found, and so they had to actually screen print and recreate fabric to replicate the dress that she had worn. So, and by the same token, they did all this on a much reduced budget from the initial setup costs. So I think the job that they did was absolutely remarkable under the circumstances. I don't know if as fans you can really tell there's much different, but certainly from our point of view, we settled quickly back into our slightly different environment. But just to recreate that amazing mural in Ash Park that's on the wall behind the piano, that's a whole wall picture. So the scenic artists who do a lot of the backdrops as well as that wall have done a remarkable job.
We know that one of the things that you couldn't replicate was Roy's fabulous abode out there in the wilderness, wherever it is. And that, can you tell us how have they recreated it?
Well, for those who don't know, yes, that was one of the locations down in Camden that we filmed at Roy's house. And it was a little unrenovated cottage that was rented. And in the hiatus between seasons 2 and 3, the property was sold and renovated, so it was no longer usable. So what the set designers did was they created an interior, which I think consists of the little kitchen, living room area, and a little bedroom set for Sarah, and the veranda. They had to literally build the veranda in the studio. So again, you've got the scenic artists doing a remarkable job painting that beautiful waterhole backdrop that you can see from Roy's veranda. And I don't think you would ever pick that it was an interior now rather than an actual cottage. It's very well done.
It's a beautiful location.
It is. If I could just add to that too, most of these locations are people's private property, so it's a really big thing to allow a film crew and into your home, especially year after year after year. So yes, although they get recompense for it, until it's happened to you, you don't realize how disruptive it can be. I mean, we do literally take over, and so it behoves us all to behave well when we're at those places, because if we lose those contacts, it has serious repercussions.
Interesting. Okay, next we're going to try Charisse Palmer. Are you there? Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, Charisse. I can see you. Hello.
Oh, great. I wish I could see you.
So do I. It's driving me crazy.
It's actually Charisse. Yes, but a lot of people get it mixed up and call me all sorts of crazy things, and I usually answer to all of them for 3 months, and then I put an end to it. Most of what I want to say to you is that the series has just touched me so deeply, and I believe that it's the most amazing, brilliant piece of television I've ever seen in my whole life. And I adore it. I love the actors, I love the sets, I love everything about it. And I was so distraught when I thought it was going to be canceled, and so thrilled that it hasn't been canceled. Yeah, I wanted to ask you about how you got into character to be Elizabeth. I heard you tell Simon that you drew some from your mother, and so it's kind of a repeat in a way, but She was so absolutely dreadful the first 2 seasons, and I just couldn't stand her because I have someone in my life like her too, but now I just absolutely adore her. But is it hard to be so mean?
Well, no, because I find being mean really easy. No, it's actually quite a relief, because as I was saying before, we do behave in a certain way which we think is, appropriate, and sometimes it's quite fun, when you play a character who is able to behave in a way that you wouldn't dare, to let the side of yourself out for a little run, in the park. But see, I never really think of her as mean. I think of her as a product of her environment and a product of her time and her upbringing. So, her attitude towards her son marrying a Jewish convert is understandable to me in that historical context, because Australia was so white and so single-minded. We had what was called, in capital W, capital a white Australia policy that was in place at that time. So we encouraged only white migrants to the country. And, we still battle with this problem today. So, as many countries do. So I never saw her as mean. I saw her as someone who felt justified in her actions, because bottom line, she wanted to maintain the status quo and to preserve her family's status in that community, as big fish in a small pond. And she's lived a very cloistered, sheltered life, by choice, sure, but there weren't that many opportunities available to women like her. And so, thank God we have come some way since then, particularly from women. But in her case, she is a product of what she knows. And she's just, I think, starting to realize in series 3 how cloistered she has been, how single-minded she has been, how introspective she has been, and how much more there is out there in the world to experience. And I guess her fear is that at her age, that she hasn't got much time left, and so she really wants to try to broaden her horizons, and indeed starts reading about female explorers and female adventurers. And that's been interesting to me, because once you start looking at that, you realize there were heaps of them. But are they in the history books? Not really. Maybe a past mention, but most of what they've done historically has been invisible. So it's really interesting just from that point of view to be able to do research and say, wow, there were these women doing extraordinary things. But hey, they got no publicity. They're not part of his story. They're kept hidden. So it's been very refreshing to kind of, Elizabeth encapsulates all those values, that whole Australia opening up to the world. I see that as being Elizabeth's role as well, in a funny way.
Well, mean was perhaps not the right word, maybe manipulative and controlling and those kinds of things, yeah.
Well, I think a lot of people have related to me that they have people in their lives like that, and often female characters. And the control is seen by many as being a desirable state. Look at the people who lead the world. It's if you have that mindset, then that is just the way you operate. You seek to control and to manipulate in order to, the means justify the ends, however misguided that might be. And I think Elizabeth has kind of had her light bulb moment where she's gone, this is all really being for nothing, because they're going to do what they're going to do anyway.
She finally figured it out.
Yeah, never too late.
One more question for you that's totally off the series, but what other TV have you done that we might watch?
Oh, wow. I think that's a question for Susan. Susan seems to be the best archivist and the best forensic expert on all of our careers. She's found shots of me that I didn't know existed. So I don't know what's available over there, but certainly I just made a film called Truth about 18 months ago with Robert Redford and Kate Blanchett, which had a very limited run because, well, it went into George W. Bush's war records, and I know CBS, for example, refused to air ads for it, and it died very quickly in Australia too. It had very limited release. But if you enjoyed All the President's Men, you will enjoy Truth.
Okay.
And what else have I done recently? There's a series called Redfern Now, which was made for the ABC here, in which I had a guest lead in one of the episodes. A show called The Shirley, a show called Nancy Wake, a series called City Homicide, where I play a police commissioner. So there's been a few things that you might be able to find.
Okay.
City Homicide is on Hulu. I just found it. I've just seen the first episode of that.
Okay.
And Truth is on demand. I just watched that this week. And Noni, I have to say, anybody that didn't know you would swear that you had never left the state of Texas in your entire life.
Oh, thank you
You
so
make a
much.
wonderful American, and we are happy to have you anytime.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
So
Noni,
did you get to sidle up and hang out with Mr. Redford?
Oh, yeah, well, Robert Redford, what a star, gosh. I was completely overawed, and there's a funny story. I looked such a fool. I hadn't met him, and we were to do a scene together where my character is married to Stacy Keach, who is one of the whistleblowers in the story. And we were on set in a hotel about to shoot a scene or rehearse a scene where Bob's character, Dan Rather, comes in and greets us. They're about to do an interview with him. And I had not yet officially met Bob at this point. So I'm standing there behind Stacy, and we're all ready, and then we hear the little walkie-talkie saying, Bob's on his way, Mr. Redford's on his way, he's on his way, he's on his way, he's coming out of the elevator, he's coming. So we're going, whoa! So in walks Bob. He walks straight over to Stacy Keach, shakes hands, then shakes hands with me and says, hi, ma'am. And I said, oh, hello, I'm Noni, and I'm playing Nikki, and blah, blah, blah. What I didn't realize, and nobody told me, is that Bob likes to start rehearsing the minute he walks on set. So he was actually rehearsing the scene, and he completely ignored what I said and just went into his dialogue. So I don't know who he thought I was or what he thought I was doing, but instead of going, playing the scene, in which in fact I had no dialogue, I stupidly and lamely said, oh, hello, I'm Noni, and I'm playing. And he was rehearsing the scene, so I felt a little stupid, but that's good.
So I don't imagine that there are any snapshots of you with Bob, huh?
No, there could have been a little selfie of me, behind his back and stuff, but no, he kept fairly tight to himself, and, he's of a good age, and he had a lot to think about on that show, and, but Stacy Keach, I have some snaps that we took together, and he was absolutely delightful and a wonderful actor and a very generous man, and we got on very well, so I was lucky.
Noni, tell us about the play, Mother. I know that a lot of the Australian members went to see the play when you did it in the past year, and that you're going to do it again this fall. Can you tell us about the play and the difference between getting in front of the camera to play Elizabeth and getting on stage and playing this totally different character?
Yeah, she is a totally different character. The play is called Mother, and it's a one-woman show that was written for me by a wonderful Australian writer called Daniel Keane. And we met with the director, who's directed Daniel's work before and who's directed me before, and is a close friend, Matt Sholton.
He's a member of our group.
Indeed, he is. We talked about themes that we wanted to raise, and the major one that we raised was something I talked about earlier in this conversation, which is judgment, how quick we are to judge each other, and how we live in such a combative world where, it's always set up in terms of us versus them. And also that, a lot of people fall through the cracks in our society. They don't get an opportunity to fulfill their dreams because of circumstances and so on. So Daniel went away, and in 10 days, we said, write us something up and we'll go for a grant to help you write the play. 10 days later, he knocked on Matt's door with the script, and it is the most beautiful, beautiful piece of writing. It's a real privilege to be able to perform it. And she's a homeless woman. She's an alcoholic. She has had a terrible, terrible life. But again, it's about not judging this person. And the joy of doing it on this regional tour is that, you know, some people came to see me because they know me from television, not because they're great theatre-going aficionados or anything. And she is so different from Elizabeth. There are no rules for Mother. You know, she does not work under any restraints or constraints. She doesn't care anymore, and the things that happened in her past, you know, she's never recovered from, basically. And so the difference really is that it's my job and my job alone to take the audience on this journey, and to see past, you know, what is presented, and what you might see initially and just make a judgment of. But when you hear this woman's story and it's told in such language that it's really poetry, but my job is to make it not sound like poetry. It's really just her life spread before you in about 90 minutes, and it's a real privilege to be able to take a live audience on that journey, and to, you know, I can hear every lollygapper, I can hear every cough, every splutter, every snore. Occasionally there's a snore. And you really have to work very hard with a live audience in a way that you don't have to in film, because it's, you know, you can have another shake at it in film. But on stage, no, you're there. And I have to tell you, one night in a place called Bairnsdale in Victoria, I'm on stage as the audience is coming in, and a little possum ran across the stage. It was hiding in the theatre in the wings. And I remember thinking, oh, good, someone to talk to. And then I thought, I hope he comes back. And then I thought, no, I don't, because if he comes back, no one's going to be looking at me. They're going to be looking at this damn possum. Luckily, he didn't come back.
You know, there was you mentioned that there, you hear every sneeze. You know, on Broadway, there's been a whole thing about cell phones, and Patti LuPone, the great Patti LuPone, was performing on stage, and somebody's cell phone went off, and she stopped the show.
Yeah.
And she took the man's cell phone and refused to return it. And she just went on and got back. She just reached out and took the phone, put it down, and the man had to go and face her in order to get his cell phone back. But that's been a big issue about people going to the theater and not understanding what it means to be part of a live audience. And I'm sure it's a big challenge.
It is, and you know, not only do they not understand that, a lot sometimes they don't care. Matt, the director, was in one of the audiences where Craig and Sarah, who play Dr. Jack and Carolyn, flew down to Hobart in Tasmania to see me do the show, as did my agent and a couple of friends of mine who come down from Sydney. And there was a guy in the audience who was on his cell phone playing games or doing something, but the screen was lit up. And Matt was a couple of rows behind him, and he could see the distraction that this was causing people. And at the end of it, he went to the guy and said, "Listen, it's really bad manners, you know, to be doing that." And the guy said, "I paid for the seat. I'll do whatever I want."
Oh, wow.
So, you know, I guess if you're dragged to the theatre and you don't really want to be there, that's one thing. But I think it's incredibly selfish, because the whole point is, you know, the audience is giving me their imaginations to take them on a journey for this period of time. But if someone else is doing something in the audience that is also telling a story, you know, that interferes with everybody's experience. So yeah, it's a real problem. Maybe we should deactivate, you know, there is technology available that you can just deactivate people's phones when they come into a space, and I think maybe we should look into that more.
Well, we need you to bring that play. I actually sent for and have read the play. And I think it's an absolutely marvelous piece of work. And I think you need to come to New York and let the Americans see you do this play.
Well, I'm available, Susan. Anytime you want me to come, I'm there.
Let me. How many hundreds of thousands of dollars would that cost?
Oh, not that much, believe me. The reason I put this play together is because season 3 of Place to Call Home was cancelled, and I thought I'd better do something to make a living. So that's why this play was put together. So if to me, I don't do what I do for money. I wouldn't be an actor if money was my major preoccupation, believe me. So I would be very, very happy to take this play overseas. The opportunity would be far more important than the money.
Well, we'll have to have that discussion.
Okay.
Just a couple of more questions, Noni. Kathy Bowles, are you there?
Yes, yes.
Kathy, identify
Hi,
yourself.
Kathy.
Hi, I hope I didn't shout too much before when I said Tagulawa. I just wanted to make sure you could hear me. Can you hear me
Yeah, I
well
can hear
now?
you. No problem.
Okay. We're in Woodbury near Yeppoon, near Rocky in Queensland.
Yep.
We've seen it, as everyone else probably in Australia has seen it, on Channel 7 and then Foxtel, or a lot of people on Foxtel. And we saw you down at the garden party. Your minder took a photo of us, which I was really grateful for. Grateful for your
Yeah.
patience.
I recognise your face, Kathy.
Oh, do you? I think I've got an old photo on there, but anyway. I was going to say also about the garden party that when David was singing his song, unfortunately we didn't see him sing it. I think we heard him and we didn't realise it was him until later on someone shared a video, and on the video there's a glider going across right at the end of him singing, and the camera follows it. My question is probably a little bit out of date and it's a little bit backtracking. Just wondering if you feel that Elizabeth's character is a natural continuation of like they're still true to her character. I was really interested in what you said about her before. That was great. And do you? And I really like the new Elizabeth. And do you feel that's a natural continuation of the way she was originally created?
Yeah, I think I'm aware that some people thought that Elizabeth had kind of got the stuffing knocked out of her, metaphorically, in season 3, and I agree. I do think that in season 3, that she really is at a kind of rock bottom, in a sense, that she just does not know how to function in the world. And also she finds her world has shrunk because her family don't seem to need or want her around. So in terms of, my children have left home in the last few years. My sons are 28 and 21. And, you do have to redefine yourself as a woman who's no longer an active mother. And so I did sort of relate to Elizabeth feeling at a loss. In her case, the stakes are kind of higher than they were for me because I work and I have other friends who understand and we talk about this stuff now. Whereas Elizabeth really has no sounding board. So, she really did pay terribly in terms of causing pain to her son in particular by her manipulation and meddling, albeit with best of intentions. So I'm hoping that in season 4 and hopefully beyond, that she does come to feel she has a place in the world that she is comfortable with and where she can make a contribution, because ultimately she wants to be of service. And, that's possibly a dying art according to the mainstream media today, people being of service, but it's what drives her, and it's what maintained her, in a sense, being that lady bountiful, in her small community. But certainly in season 3, when she starts to try and give back to some of the returned soldiers, I think that's, she's looking for something to do, to be of service and to have some relevance in the world. So I think she will start to get her confidence back. And certainly in season 3, you see that the family allows her back in. The family, they do love her. They do love her, and they learn more about what causes her to be the way she is, which promotes some understanding. And certainly she begins to have a much warmer and closer relationship with her daughter, from whom she's been kind of estranged for a long, long time. And that's wonderful.
Yes.
Noni, we're going to take one more question that's going to be typed in from Tori Lauer. Tori, the answer to your question, can you see? I'll read it out for everybody. Sorry, my kids are sleeping and don't want to wake them, so I've muted my microphone. I'm just north of Chicago in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, in the United States, and I watched the series on DVD. Your portrayal of Elizabeth is simply amazing. I have loved seeing the depth that Elizabeth has and how that has shaped her to be the person she is in the 50s. I loved how she came to James's defense and acceptance of James's sexual orientation as much as she could for the time period. I know that you likely don't know, but since Elizabeth had a similar marriage as James and Olivia, do you think that she might play a role in the relationship of James and Olivia, and might she encourage them to lead separate love lives? Have you had to do research to portray Elizabeth accurately with regards to James' sexual orientation for the time period?
Yeah, great question. Thank you. I think I didn't do a lot of the actual research because I didn't feel the need. I felt the writing was so clear. And you know, the whole storyline where James is receiving treatment. Although Elizabeth accepts his sexuality because of her familiarity with her late husband, she and you know, indeed she forces him to marry to maintain again that status quo and that front. I think that it's really important to her increasingly that her family is happy, as opposed to towing the line that may not be sustainable. And I think she's coming to realize that Olivia particularly is going to prove harder to contain than she herself, Elizabeth was, you know, because there's 50 years between their experiences. So Elizabeth, I think, would love for James to be happy and for, you know, the continuity of the generations to roll out the way it always has, you know, the joy caused by the baby Georgie's birth. Gives her everyone a lot of hope for the future. And you know, what's interesting is finding out what George, the son, knew about his father. That comes up in season 3 towards the end, and all that time, you know, Elizabeth thought that George knew nothing about his father, and in fact, there was a lot of pain caused by what George did know, and again, nobody talked about it. So there was a lot of suppression going on. But I think ultimately that she would want them to be happy as best they can, because she's realizing that, you know, life is a struggle for everybody. And again, that's one of the things I think that's making her more human.
Noni, Jenny wants to know, she can just get a quick response. She had a question about whether your voice was dubbed onto when we see young Elizabeth.
Oh, yes, it was. Yes, it was. Obviously not a very good job.
Well, and Charlie Lewis wants to know if there's a fan address that his kids can write you.
Oh, absolutely. You can write to me, care of Foxtel. If you address it to me, care of the publicity department, and Vanessa Hollins is the lady there, HOLLINS. I'd be thrilled to hear from you.
Noni, on behalf of everybody, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to, you know, spend with us, and I hope that you'll join us again.
I would love to, and I hope we can iron out what the problem is. I'm wondering, is it because it will only sustain 8 people that I can't? I'm the last on the line, sort of thing. Is that why?
Actually, I don't know that is because I rerouted it so that you're actually the second person on the list. I don't know what happened, but you know what? Before we do it again, I'm going to, you know, I'm over 50, so I'm computer challenged, and you know, I may have done something. I may have done something wrong.
Yeah, I don't
So,
know. You know, I have the video symbol with the line through it, and I
right.
keep getting, but it's not making any difference. So I'm really sorry, guys, and I would love to do this again, hopefully without technical hitches. But can I just say, from my point of view, we are so thrilled to be able to talk to people from all around the world about this show. We work very hard to give it heart and to give it soul and to give it life, and to know that it's resonating with people all over the world really means a lot, because it means that we're touching human chords of response, and that's so important to us as actors, particularly, you know, in this time when the world is in such turmoil. It's just such a privilege to do something that touches people. So thank you all for your interest and your continuing support of us. We're so grateful.
Thank you.
Noni,
Thank you, Noni.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so much.
Noni.
Thank you, Susan.
oh, thank you, everybody. Noni, when you start to see some of the essays that have been submitted, you'll really get to see how wide a reach this show really has, because everybody in their own way touches on something that they can relate to, that really makes the people of Inverness come right into their living rooms, and it's quite spectacular. So thank you for making it so easy for fans to interact with you and to really help us love the show even more.
Anytime, Susan, it's a total pleasure. And as I said before, you know, we do share more similarities than differences as human beings, and anything that can help promote that is worthwhile from my point of view. So bless you all, and thank you so much.
Take care. Thank you, Noni.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, everybody, I'm sorry about not being able to see Noni. I don't know what the problem was, but I promise before the next time that we do a chat, I'm going to see about upgrading my Skype so that I can, so that we can support more, visual, more people. So I don't know if I made a mistake or what the deal was, but we got a lot out of her. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see her, but I don't know about you, but I'm just delighted that we had a chance to have this chat.
It
Susan,
was great, and thank you.
Thank
Susan,
you so much.
Thank you, Susan.
A pleasure, a pleasure.
Al
Thanks,
says,
everybody.
Al says
Bye-bye.
you
Bye.
can't have
Lila
video
Toad.
with more than 8 people.
Bye.
Doesn't work. Can anyone hear me? No, it's gone. Did you stop it recording?